this poem kind of, intrigued me to want to check it out because it's called Therapy. It's by a guy, he calls himself Z from Baltimore. And again, this is a spoken word poetry piece. So I want to kind of react to it because I want to see if I can relate to it in a way that I'm in poetry, that I'm in therapy now. Back in therapy, because like I said, I've been to therapy before, so I do have a lot of different experiences with that. And I've also written my own poetry pieces about therapy that I have not finished. So I just want to see if I can relate to what he's saying since it's called Therapy. I want to see what he's talking about, and I want to see if it kind of matches the pieces that I've wrote, even though they're not finished. I want to see if there's any lines or anything that kind of match what I've written in mind. So about to react to it. If you hear grunts or anything in the background, that is my son. I'm a new mom now, hence why I'm back in therapy, just to kind of keep postpartum depression at bay. So that's the baby in the background, my son.
I am genuinely afraid of going to a therapist. Like, for real. Because what if it actually, works? And they have me spilling tea all over their nice, clean couch? Like, what if they find this chest buried underneath my chest that's just stuffed to the brim with lumps of trauma-covered coal? What if these issues stored on these shelves are the only thing that turns the pages in my book of life? Like, what if repressed memory foam be the only thing that helps me sleep?
I'm gonna stop it right there. So in the beginning, he's kind of talking about, he says he's scared of seeing a therapy, and then he goes into his what ifs. Did I say therapy? He's scared of seeing a therapy. He's scared of seeing a therapist because, and then he goes into his what if reasons. For me, when I first started seeing a therapist, I don't know if scared can be the word. I guess you can say scared, or just nervous, anxious, or whatever. When I first started seeing a therapist, I was going through anxiety and stuff real bad. It was kind of hard for me to meet new people. I didn't like meeting new people. I barely liked being around the people who weren't new in my life. So that part was just hard to just know that you're going to go meet someone new, and you're supposed to tell this person what issues you're going through or what you're feeling, what type of anxiety, depression, whatever it is that you're feeling. You're supposed to, dive deep into those. It's sacred, and, just any issues or trauma that you've been through, you have to tell this stranger what's going on. And then you're wondering what they're going to say or what they're going to think, even though this is their job, it's their profession. They're not supposed to judge you. So you're going into it knowing that they're not meant to be judgmental of it. Like if you were talking to someone else, if you were talking to a friend or a family member, those people are close in your life. You gotta see them multiple times throughout your life. So it's kind of hard telling them certain things to where they can judge you, and they know, more on the back end of what's going on. They know you more than this therapist. So it's kind of you're kind of you've already signed up for it. You already, set your appointment and everything. So you're going, but at the same time, it's you're still kind of wary of it. Do I really want to do this? Do I really want to spill all this information? Like he said, spill the tea. Do I really want to dig up all this trauma and spill it out to this stranger? I'm probably going to have to go back and listen to this without recording and everything so I can really dive into it. Because I feel like it's kind of hard for me to do that, trying to record. I know I'm recording myself, so I don't know. This is my first time ever doing a reaction type of video, so it's new to me.
The only comfort that keeps the nightmares away. See, by now, I've grown attached to these levees that I've built between me and the outside world because they have held steady for decades. Pieced together from fragile fragments of manhood that I've scavenged from all the shattered pieces of my broken male influences. What if this doctor just comes in with their PhD in demolition and starts detonating?
Yeah, because therapists, I guess in a way they're seen as doctors, but I don't know. I don't feel like therapy works for everybody. It's just like going to see a doctor. They try to prescribe you, different medications and stuff, and it might not be what's going to work for whatever your situation is. It might be something else that they haven't checked yet. And even with therapists, they try to prescribe you, well, usually you have to go to a psychiatrist. So if they recommend a psychiatrist, then they'll get you on medications and stuff. And a lot of times those medications do not work, because I've tried medications once and no, I'm not doing that again. It's like you need I don't know, therapy is good, but at the same time, just trying to give somebody medications, it's like, you know, we need to figure out a different way to handle these type of traumas and things like that. Because medication, I feel like it's just, okay, like say when something stinks, or if you go to the bathroom, you do a number 2 and you spray the air freshener, like it's not really eliminating that smell, it's just covering it up until it like really fades away. And even then, it's not really, let's say not even the bathroom, like a trash can or something. So you've got this trash, you know, it's got all this nasty, yucky stuff. It smells really bad. If you just spray something in the trash, that ain't gonna do nothing but cover up it. And it's not even gonna cover it up all the way. You're still gonna smell that stench. So it's gonna be like you smell whatever the scent is of the air freshener you sprayed on it. Say it's like some type of floral scent. So it's gonna be floral scent on top of trash. And that ain't gonna work. He back there trying to talk too. He talking about whatever he hears on her too, I guess. I don't know.
Dynamite at these already faltering foundations, flooding the foreground of my frontal lobe and bringing skeletons to the surface that I thought had long dissolved. I mean, after all this time of
Skeletons
pushing
in your closet
and pushing this shit down so deep,
about that too.
So deep under so much pressure, it should be oil by now. I should be slick enough to just slide right through life, never having to tap into this reservoir, erupting through the surface and covering everything with this thick black mayhem. Like what am I supposed to say to this stranger who has already heard every story that there is to be told, who is skilled?
Yes, because therapists, they see multiple people throughout the day, so it's kind of, I don't know, I feel like when you think about it that way, they probably already heard your story. Of course, everybody's story is different in a way, but they probably heard it all. And then you can't go into therapy feeling like y'all actually have this like one-on-one connection or whatever, because you know, you're just an hour in their blog, but you know, then the next person's gonna come after that is gonna spill their tea too, and they're gonna have to, you know, do the same thing that they did with you over and over again. So it's really not even a one-on-one connection or anything like that. You're really just telling this stranger your problems, who has heard so many problems that all kind of are the same at the same time.
And searching every closet for the bones barricaded between the walls. This stranger who I trust about as far as I can push them away, who just wants to play Jenga with my mental stability, tip over the tower attentively, and then take credit for building me back to heaven. This stranger who just wants to see the rust underneath this iron-plated armor and marvel at the triggers that make me a war machine. And yeah, I know, I'm projecting. And to be honest, I'm not that afraid of telling them my story. I guess I'm just afraid of hearing it out loud.
Afraid of hearing it out loud. Okay, yes, because we can tell ourselves these things in our head, you know, as much as we want to. We can try to sweep it under the rug as much as we want to, but actually having to let that out and you can hear it, like, I don't know. That is kind of different, like having to, I've experienced that as well, just knowing the traumas that I went through as a child, and even some in my adult life or whatever. I really feel like the stuff you go through as a child kind of shape the way you are and as an adult, and it doesn't have to be that way. It does most of the time, but I guess, let me not say it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to stay that way. Like with me saying I can be my own therapist, it's up to you to kind of figure out what those traumas were, you know, dig deep and find the root cause of them, of whatever you're going through later on in life, and then figuring out a way to handle those things, cope, and get over them. You know, I don't want to say get over, because there's some things that's really hard to, you know, get over, but just find your own ways to heal, whatever works best for you. And a lot of the time we want to sweep things up under the rug, and that's really not healing. That's really not clearing it out, because if you think about when you're like trying to clean something in a room, if you just sweep it under the rug, it's not really clean. Like, you may not see on the outside that the dirt is there, but if that rug moves just an inch, you can see the dirt. Or if somebody lifts that up, you can see the dirt. Whenever you want to lift that rug up, the dirt is still there. It's still like accumulating and piling up. Whereas if you actually sweep it up, mop it up, whatever, put it in the trash, bag it up and take it out, then it's out. So sometimes we have to say those things out loud, whether it's to ourselves or to someone else or whoever hurt us, or just telling someone close to you, your parents or whatever, that somebody else hurt you or did something to you when you was a child, whatever the situation is, instead of just trying to keep it buried within our minds and deep within our soul and deep, real deep within our hearts and everything like that, like buried up under the rug. We can't keep sweeping things up under the rug. The dirt is still there, the damage is still there. You gotta take that trash out. You don't take it out, you can be triggered by any little thing. Like I said, if somebody steps wrong on the rug and it moves and shifts a certain way, the dirt, you can see the dirt, they can see the dirt. Whenever you're ready to pick it up and do something with it, move it to a different area or something, there's the dirt. Everybody else who's around can see the dirt. Just let it out and let it out and take it out.
Of being my own audience, afraid that once my lips reconstruct the traumas, that now they can never be destroyed. I'd rather just suffer with them in the back of my mouth like a rotting tooth, because once you extract it, then it's out there, covered in blood and neglect for the world to witness the repressed repulsion that you kept lost in the back of your voice, where the words have to tiptoe around every day, careful not to track any dirty little secret footprints over your clean car.
Okay, so like I said, you gotta let certain traumas, well, not even certain, you gotta let all that trauma out and stuff. You can't just keep it buried within you, because that's only gonna keep on, all of it's just gonna keep on piling up, like anger and stuff, all these type of different emotions that you don't just let release when they need to be released. You just let it pile up and then it pours out and it's like an explosion. But what he said about the footprints, that kind of goes back to what I was saying about sweeping stuff up under the rug. You keep sweeping dirt and stuff up under the rug, you're gonna be tracking dirt all around your space still. Like if you don't sweep that up, mop that up, pack it up and take it out, then it's easy for you or other people that you invite over, that you have over, whatever, to track all that dirt all around your space, into your bed with you, up under the bed that you sleep on, whatever it is, it's being tracked everywhere. Now you're sleeping with it, you ain't just, holding it in. It's almost like you're bathing in it, you're sleeping in it, you're breathing it in, you're tracking it everywhere you go. It's following you like a ghost. Ooh, I like that. I might need to write that. All right, let's get back into this.
Carpet tongue. That's why poetry has always been my therapist, which is to say that my PEN be my PhD, my couch be covered in.
I think that's my favorite line of it that he done said. Let's rewind it.
Footprints over your clean carpet tongue. That's why poetry has always been my therapist, which is to say that my PEN be my PhD, my
So it's like me saying I feel like I can be my own therapist, and that's my way of how, it's not the whole entirety of it, but it's a big part of what I do. I write poetry, I journal, you can do some type of art like painting and stuff that can help you cope and heal with your traumas, whatever it is for you. And like he said, his PEN can be his PhD. So him just writing it out is, therapy. It's therapeutic for him.
Construction paper and constructive criticism, my prescription be transcription, and my treatment is to try to take the right path, because I swear I can handle this myself. I swear I can handle this myself, but it be times when that first line just draws too much blood, and it reminds me that underneath this iron-plated armor is a war-torn tragedy and some wounds never quite closed, some slashes never get sutures. To the therapist that I finally have the courage to visit, I apologize in advance for never seeking to be stitched up sooner, and for leaving a bloodbath all over your nice, clean couch.
So that's the end of it. He ended it with leaving, blood on the couch. In the beginning, he talked about spilling tea. So, this might not be how he was going with it, but for me, it's like in the beginning of therapy sessions, it's kind of light. It starts out light and then it starts getting, deeper and deeper. So in the beginning, it is like, you just spilling a little tea about yourself, about, some things that you might have, went through when you was a child or recently, what's going on in your life now. But it's still light. You don't, the therapy session doesn't get, deeper and darker until as the session goes on, as the therapist starts asking you questions, bringing up things for you to think about that maybe you didn't think about previously, or maybe that you swept under the rug and didn't want to think about, but now you have to because you're in that session and the question is being asked. So now that's when the spilling of the tea starts to become, now you're bleeding. You're not just spilling tea anymore, you're bleeding out on the therapist's couch instead of just a little spilled tea on the table. Yes, this just inspired me. I'm gonna have to look through my video again because I said some stuff in here that I feel like I need to write down. So I'm gonna do that. Yeah, and I'm gonna go through some of the other stuff I've written too and see if I can finish them. But I'm glad I came across this. Let me know how you all feel about it. It's my first time doing a reaction video.